Welcome to Book Bites, your weekly dose of literary delight. We dive into Amazon's top-selling books, giving you the lowdown on what's hot and what's not. Join us as we uncover hidden gems, discuss captivating storylines, and analyze the minds of best-selling authors. Whether you're a seasoned reader or just starting your literary journey, there's something for everyone. So grab a cup of coffee, get cozy, and let's get reading.
All right, so you're here because, like us, you really want to dig into the 2024 election, right? I mean, beyond just the headlines and the talking points.
Yeah.
Like, what was really going on behind the scenes? What were the dynamics that shaped this whole thing?
Exactly. And we really wanted to kind of give you a look behind the curtain. So we went deep into this book, Fight, Inside the Wildest Battle for the White House.
Yeah, by Jonathan Allen and Amie Parnes.
Right. And let me tell you, it lives up to that title. This was intense. It's like, getting into the ring, the political ring.
So this isn't our, typical political analysis. We're really trying to extract the most important insights from this book, like those real nuggets and also some of the unreported stuff that really eliminates just how much of a battle this was.
Yeah.
So when they say blood sport politics, it's not just a kitschy phrase.
No, not at all. One of the things that really struck me was the level of strategic maneuvering, and not just between the campaigns, but even within the same campaign.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you had senior advisors actively trying to undercut each other to gain favor with, Trump or Biden. You can feel those personal rivalries. It's palpable.
Wow. It's like the book gives you a skeleton key to these rooms you wouldn't normally even know existed.
Absolutely. I mean, over 150 insiders interviewed, from the Trump camp, the Biden camp, Harris, you name it. And it's not just like, oh yeah, things were tough. You get a much more graphic view of the decisions being made.
Can you give us an example?
Well, for instance, the book dives into these internal debates within the Biden camp about how to handle Trump's attacks. Like, there were serious disagreements and strategy shifts happening that nobody outside that room knew about at the time.
That's fascinating. So it's less about, the polished speeches and more about the real calculations behind them.
Exactly. And it gets even more interesting when you layer in the personal motivations.
Right. It's not just about policy. It's about what drives these individuals.
The book is really good at that. For example, you see how the idea of legacy, going down in history a certain way, really weighed on Biden. It impacted some of his major decisions, and that adds a whole other dimension to the political chess game.
Right. And speaking of the game, there was all this talk about voter dissatisfaction back then. How does this book shed light on that?
Well, it gives you a more nuanced understanding of how Trump tapped into certain types of dissatisfaction. I mean, the authors actually detail how his campaign identified and amplified anxieties around economic insecurity, especially within specific groups. They knew how to tailor their message, and it resonated.
And what about the dynamics within the Democratic Party? There were a lot of eyes on the Biden-Harris relationship.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The book offers some really interesting glimpses into how the pressure cooker of that campaign affected their dynamic. There were moments of tension, disagreements on strategy, just highlighting the challenges of that kind of partnership on such a huge stage.
So if someone's trying to really understand what went down in 2024, this seems like a must-read.
Absolutely. The critics agree, too. They're calling it, a riveting narrative, saying it's packed with dishy scoops. It's got that insider feel, like Shattered. But it's also been praised for being even-handed in how it portrays both campaigns.
So it's clear from this deep dive into Fight that 2024 was more than just, speeches and debates. It was a full-on, no-holds-barred battle with all this maneuvering happening in the background. And this book gives you a window into that pivotal moment.
It really does. And, when you think about all the blood sport stuff, the behind-the-scenes power plays, it makes you wonder how much of what we see about elections is really just the tip of the iceberg.
Right, like what's really driving things and
Right.
what information are we not getting?
Exactly. And that's something to think about as we head into future elections, right? How much do we really know about what's happening behind closed doors, and how does that affect what we end up believing?
Great point. Well, this has been a really insightful deep dive, and I encourage everyone to check out Fight for themselves. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.
That's all for this episode of Book Bites. We hope you enjoyed our review, and if you did, please like, share, and follow our podcast. And don't forget to leave a comment with your thoughts on the book. We love hearing from our listeners.